Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is, whatever time it is for you. Good to you. Hi, I'm Mark Cook. I'm the CEO of Shiny Shoe, and we are the creators of Monster Train. Today, we have a special stream for you. So for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about official mod support in Monster Train. And I've been showing off some of the kind of test mods the development team has been making and maybe one or two community mods. We're now ready to both announce the name of this update and the release date. So the name of the update is going to be called Herzl's Workshop. I can't remember if I said that before. I may have announced that one before, but Herzl is one of the characters in the game. He's the author of the logbook. Herzl's Workshop is the official mod support update, and it is coming out on October 22nd. So that is 2 weeks from now. Today's October 8th, 2020, so it's coming out 2 weeks from today. It'll be another free update to the game. All of the mods that have been created by both the development team and the community will be available. And as a part of that, today's stream, I am going to make a mod live and answer any questions that I can as I go through that process. As one of the various kind of tutorials that'll be out there to help mod makers get started on the kind of journey of adding mods to Monster Train. I'm super excited to see people's mods once we kind of really open this up to the wider community. So yeah, I can't wait to kind of get started on this. As usual, feel free to ask me any questions you have, and I will try to answer them. I've got another window over here with another monitor with my kind of question readout. But before we jump into making a mod, I did want to show off one other mod. This is another community-made mod, so I'm going to jump over to the game real quick. This one's cool. And so just for anybody who's seeing mods for the first time, this is what's going to be patched into Monster Train. There's a new mod settings button on the main menu. You open this up. You enable the mod loader, which is kind of like the baseline root mod for all other mods. I already have it installed. If you didn't, you would just check this on and then it would install it. And then you can go to the workshop. I'm not going to click this button, but you can go to the Steam workshop, find other mods, and download them. The one that I want to look at today with everybody is called the Stoker Deck Editor. This is a community-made mod by somebody named Crazy Jackal on Discord. It does have the kind of non-cosmetic flag here because this definitely allows you to modify gameplay and essentially cheat in pretty fun ways. So because of that, we don't allow you to play Hell Rush. We've talked about this in previous weeks, but we'll talk about it again. You can't play Hell Rush. You can't unlock achievements. You cannot submit leaderboard scores to like the daily challenge. We're also going to make it so you cannot unlock Covenant levels as well. So that's already in, but the text doesn't say that yet. It's essentially going to be the exact same rules as if you had mutators in a standard run, single player. So there's going to be certain things that are disabled because mods like the Stoker Deck Editor are really fun, but they do let you cheat at the game, essentially. So we're turning some things off like that. Yeah, so then you can individually turn mods on and off. Like if I just wanted to turn that off temporarily, you can hit Apply Changes. You do have to restart the game when you do that, just because of the way our mods work. But then you would be able to kind of come back in, and then all those modes would be playable again, because at that point, I wouldn't have any mods that are non-cosmetic enabled. All right, jumping over to the questions real quick. Khaleesi's, I am hyped to make a new faction. Will you show us how to make an entirely new card and inject it into the game? That is not what I am going to show today. What I'm going to show is a very simple mod, but it'll give you like the basics of how to get set up to make one. Somebody last week kind of referred to an inside joke, which is Hornbreaker Prince, the champion of the Hellhorn clan. His real name is Frank, apparently. I forget exactly how this kind of meme started, but we're going to make a mod that changes his name to Frank. So it's going to be very simple. I'm not going to do a card today. However, I think we're going to have another stream or tutorial video that shows how to make a card. And it's definitely possible to make cards. And the community mod tools called Trainworks that some of the community modders have made make it a lot easier to do. So we're going to get to that. That won't be today, though. But still, what I show off will give you a good demo of how to make some mods. All right, Mario the Plumber. Question, will the documentation and such be open to the community before the official release date to kind of concept make the mods, or only on the 22nd? So yes, I think what we're planning to do, like we've done for past updates for Monster Train, we are going to do a public test probably in a weekish. So I don't know exactly when. When that happens, you can switch over to the public test branch. You'll be able to play with mods. You'll be able to make mods and upload them in preparation for the 22nd launch to everybody else. So yes, that is coming. There'll be the documentation ahead of time, and I'm hopeful that this stream will be a part of the documentation that'll help get people interested, kickstarted. All right, I'm going to jump back to other questions in just a second, but really quick, let's look at Stoker Deck Editor. The other thing that we're going to see, as soon as I hit resume here to go into whatever this run is we are going to be doing a Halloween event, a temporarily timed event for Monster Train. It's going to do a few things. We're going to see one or two of them when we jump in here. I'm not going to announce everything that is going to be associated with that right now. But yeah, just know that we're also, at the same time that Herzl's Workshop update goes out, we're going to be patching in some Halloween themed stuff too. So, all right, let's resume this run. So already you can see there's something going on for Halloween here in the back of the room. We got some bats flying around. We've got my cat meowing at me in the background too. Train Steward's got a pumpkin head, but that's not really what we came to look at today. We came to look at the Stoker Deck Editor, which is this. This is a mod that brings up its own UI. So you press the equals key, and this UI appears that allows you to do all sorts of things. For example, you can add an artifact. So how about Shadowbox? Just push that button. All right, now if we look up here, we've got Shadowbox. What if I want to do something with my torch? Let's pick one of my torches in my deck. Oh, no, Frozen Lance. Frozen Lance, people hate on Frozen Lance all the time. What kind of upgrades can we give it? Okay, we can apparently give it champion upgrades through the Stoker Deck Editor. So it looks like you've got the power to pretty much do anything, including things that probably are not going to work, I think. It's likely some of these will break the game. Yeah, I don't think Stalwart Snack is going to work on Frozen Lance, but it is cool that we can do that. All right, there's a whole bunch of things in here. What can we do? What if we give it Heaven's Finest? What's that going to do? All right, I have no idea. Okay, let's close that. Let's see. Did it update in deck view? So something I've noticed, I was playing around with this earlier, is that sometimes the cards don't update instantly with whatever it is that you would put on them. But I have seen it where, like, once it cycles into your hand, then it shows up. It must be something to do with how our code works. Oh, this one does. I just put Improved Rail Spike on Frozen Lance here. It deals 16 damage, and it got Consume. And I did that by using Stoker Deck Editor. I can add a card. Let's put Fatal Melting into my deck. Boom, there it is. So it didn't load its art. That's probably because of how our code works and not really to do with the mod. We're not playing that clan, so a Fatal Melting is not loaded because of how we deal with our load strategy. That's probably fixable. This kind of like letters is the default art if we don't find the card art and how our kind of engine works. But anyway, that's Stoker Deck Editor. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. You can mess with your deck, you can cheat, you can experiment with things. It's really fun. All right, jumping back to questions real quick. All right. Mario the Plumber. Wait, how is the flag decided? Do the mod creators decide to turn it on or off? Okay, let's go back to the game. Yes, the answer to that is yes. So mod creators, basically, we need you to be good guys, so to speak, good guys and gals. And you put a flag into something called the mod manifest, which we will see as soon as I make a mod here, that says whether or not it's a cosmetic only mod. So cosmetic only means like it's only changing the art to like look silly, or it's putting googly eyes, or it's changing the sounds or something, like something that doesn't affect gameplay at all. Those are all cosmetic only mods. However, if you are changing gameplay, like it's very easy to make a mod that makes the torch spell do 1,000,000 damage or something like that, then we want you to put it's not cosmetic only, which will then create these blockers we talked about multiplayer and so on. Really, the way, I mean, it's already possible for people to make changes to the game that allow cheats, so that's what most people are worried about, that this mods will allow cheats and so on. However, if a mod does not set that flag correctly, we have the power to delete the mod or ban it. So we're essentially going to treat it in the same way we do for cheaters in multiplayer right now, is if a mod is set up maliciously to try to give cheats without setting that flag correctly, we'll delete the mod. I hope that doesn't happen. if people make mistakes, we'll try to contact them first to try to fix the mod setup so that it gets set in the correct way. But it is an opt-in thing for mod makers. All right, Sinister Hologram says, I played the Round and Round challenge recently, and when I played one of the cards that has you sacrifice an imp, it randomly sacrificed my champion. Does the Exiles Hellhorn champion count as an imp, or is this a bug? All right, what is the Round and Round challenge? I have to go look that up. Let's see if we can go see which one that is. It's one of the expert challenges, right? I think I've got to go... Huh? Do I not have it unlocked? Okay, well, I don't have it unlocked, so I can't see it on my game here. If that has either the Volatile Spells Mutator or Hive Mind, then it could change things. So Volatile Spells says the targets of spells are chosen randomly, and Hive Mind, friendly units count as all subtypes. So if it has Hive Mind, then every single unit also is an imp. Every unit is every type, basically. So that's what I would guess. All right, never mind. Marmo says it's a bug. So, but anyway, if it had been one of those things, now you know what it would have been. All right, or how those would have affected it. All right, Lies 034. Can we make a mod to get Bone Dog to show up? Yes, you could. However, if it is non-cosmetic, you can't master cards, and that would technically count as a non-cosmetic mod because it affects gameplay. But I mentioned this last week, but I'll reiterate it. We are pulling Bone Dog out of the current event that he appears in, and we are moving Bone Dog into his own event, and that event is going to be more common than it currently is. In addition to that, during the course of the special Halloween event that we're talking about, that's going to start when the Herzl's Workshop mod update goes out on October 22nd, we are also going to greatly increase the commonality of that new Bone Dog event. So if you want to master Bone Dog, it's time to come back to the game during the Halloween event because there will be a much, much greater chance of seeing the new Bone Dog event during that limited time frame. We haven't set a specific date when we're going to take the Halloween kind of changes away, but it's probably going to be in the first week of November. So there'll be about a 2-week window to get in there. And then regardless, even after the Halloween event ends, Bone Dog will be more common than it was. All right. LSX Edge says, can you mod using the Geforce Now app? I don't know. I don't know how Geforce Now would be kind of part of this, so I don't know. Geforce Now is NVIDIA's streaming service, right? Here, I'll jump over to my head, I guess. For NVIDIA's streaming service, I would imagine that you could use mods, but I don't know. I don't know enough about how it works, so unfortunately I can't answer that definitively. We should try it and find out. All right, Fluffitron UK. Would a mod which allows you to fine-tune the random selections count as flagged mod? It's not a cosmetic mod, but it also doesn't affect gameplay. It does, though. So yes, I think that would have to be flagged as non-cosmetic, because if you're playing multiplayer and you locally have like the odds table changed for the likelihood of events showing up, then you would be getting... the game would no longer be deterministic for all players. In all multiplayer modes, we want all players to see the exact same options so that it's completely fair. So if you had a different local weight table to your changes, then you should not be able to play multiplayer. It's essentially a cheat, basically. You could say, I only want these events to show up and these ones to never show up, and then it would be unfair in multiplayer. So that is another type of mod that would have to be considered non-cosmetic as well. Need to mod in petting the dog. That is cosmetic. You could mod in petting the dog, and there would be no issues with that. All right, well, so let's get started on actually making a mod so we can see how that all works. Yeah, I'm going to try to take it from like step 1 to the end. So let's pull up a bunch of stuff. I'm like going to open up some windows I've got open on a variety of monitors here. All right, we're going to switch over to my desktop. So this is the first time I've streamed my desktop, and we'll see how this goes. Okay. So hopefully you can all see this city skyline and everything that's going on here. Let's pull up some stuff to look at. So we're going to look at a list of instructions here, and let's just start reading through this. I'm sorry this is a bit low budget here, but let's look through these things. So dependencies. Let's talk about dependencies. Before you can even make a mod, I've got some good or bad news depending on your perspective. There is no user interface for making mods at all. for Monster Train. It requires programming, basically. In an ideal world, we would have some user interface for adding a card to the game. I think that would be great, but we don't. So you're going to have to do some amount of programming. What that also means, though, is you have unlimited power to do whatever you want, which is cool. So yeah, to be able to mod Monster Train, you've got a couple of things you need from the outset. You need to own a copy of Monster Train, of course, and you need to own it on Steam if you want to publish your mods to the workshop. You need to install Visual Studio 2019 with C# support. There's a free community version of that, or you can probably use VS Code or other editors. I don't think it really matters as long as you can compile a DLL in the right way. But Visual Studio 2019 is what I'm going to show today, so we can see how that works. And you need a kind of generic, I'll call it generic, but like mod framework. We talked about this briefly before. It's called Dependencies. We're using version 5.3. This is what Monster Train uses to allow mods to be loaded into the game. And this is a Unity mod making kind of low-level framework for adding code to Unity games to be able to change how they behave. So Dependencies 5.3 comes with the official Monster Train mod loader. So when you download that, you'll essentially get it. You can also download it today, right now, off of the Dependencies website, which is, they've got, you know, the code's hosted on GitHub. You can get it there. It's all open source. And then this is what we use to kind of create the basis for making mods. All right. So we're going to make this mod that changes the name of Hornbreaker Prince to Frank. This will be a cosmetic mod, cosmetic only. All right. So here's what we're going to do to set up. The first thing we're going to do, well, let's look at some other folders here real quick. I want to show briefly, like, mods are stored in this folder that's like part of the workshop. So for me, it's in where my Steam is installed, Steam Apps, Workshop, Content, and then there's a number. This is like the app ID. This is where all games workshop content goes. And I'll show you what this means in more detail in a little bit. But this is Monster Train's ID, and this is where the mods are installed. So the mods that we were looking at, like Stoker, Deck Editor, and so on, they're all stored in here. These all numbers are their mod IDs. The user never needs to see these, but that's where our mods are. So we're going to make a test mod, and we make a test mod locally. We're going to copy it into this folder. All right. So to make a mod, we're going to go over to Visual Studio. In Visual Studio, you need to make a new project with the type called class library .NET Standard. So .NET Standard 2.0 class library, and this is what's going to allow us to, it's the type of project we need to make to inject code into Monster Train as a mod. All right, so hit next. We're going to call this, my name is Frank, will be the name of our mod. I'm going to put it into a folder that I know exists on my hard drive. All right, we're going to put it there, and this doesn't, you can do whatever you want here, but I'm going to check place solution and project into the same directory. All right, let's hit create. All right, so that made a blank project. It created a namespace. It set up some couple of things here. I'm going to minimize that just for a second. So I've got it copied over to here. This is actually a Git repository I have synced, which we'll talk about later. There's a number of open source mods made by the dev team. Some of the ones we've looked at before, like Shiny Stewards, the Restart Battle button, and so on. We're going to make My Name is Frank into here as well. I'm going to push this to GitHub later, and then this will be part of just the open source mods that we put out there as examples for folks. So the next thing we need to do in our project, Holvader0 says, frankly, a better name, and Marmo says, can this mod also rename Legion of Wax to Marmo's Nightmare? We could do that as a bonus thing. It's kind of weird to toss that into our mod, but this is kind of a, you know, joke mod, throwaway mod, so let's do that too. Just remind me when I get to the point where we're actually changing that, or I'll try my best to remember. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to reference a bunch of DLLs as kind of assembly references in our project. So we need to reference 3 DLLs from Dependencies, this harmony, zeroharmony.dll, dependencies.dll, and dependencies-harmony.dll. You can read all the details about like what exactly all this stuff is in excruciating detail in the Dependencies documentation, but just know we need to do these. And then we need to reference some assemblies from the game itself. So I've already copied these. So at the root of my Monster Train mods folder, I've copied the BepInEx kind of project here, and I've copied the Monster Train data folder. So this came out of where Monster Train is installed on Steam. And then it's got this managed folder in here. That's the only one I copied. And it's got a bunch of DLLs in here, which are, these are compiled .NET assemblies. They're written in C#. And they're all here. And we need to reference all these into our project so that we can refer to the classes and so on that exist here. This is how like you can use the classes that exist within the Monster Train code base to do whatever you want, to make a card, to do crazy stuff. So let's do that real quick. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go add project reference. I right-clicked on dependencies. There's other ways to do this. This is like the most basic way. I think I put some of these here already, but we'll just do it again. So browse. Let's see. Let's go back to my list real quick. Let's do the we'll do the Monster Train data ones first. So we need assembly C#, Unity Text Mesh Pro, Unity Engine, and Unity Engine Core modules. So assembly C#. Scroll down. Unity Text Mesh Pro. I'm holding down Control to select multiple here. We need Unity Engine.dll, and we need Unity Engine.core module. All right, there's 4 of those. Okay, we'll hit OK just to make sure that those go in. All right, we've got those ones there. So let's add a few more. Let's browse a couple more. We need to get the BepInEx ones in too. So go up here, go to Core, Harmony, BepInEx, BepInEx Harmony. Those were the 3. Let's add, hit OK. All right, so we have all of our dependencies added. Let's rename our class here. This will be called My Name is Frank also. All right, let's do that. Okay, so now we have a kind of, we've got our references set up. We've got our like blank mod. So now we need to do a few more things. So we need to add any using statements that we need to bring in references to some of these other assemblies that we've just loaded. We need to set up a Bepin plugin class attribute, inherit from base Unity plugin, and then build. And then at that point, we've made a mod that can be loaded into Monster Train that does absolutely nothing. So very exciting. Let's start with that though. So I'll jump over to here and I'm going to cheat. I've got a window open on another monitor that I'm just going to like look at as reference here. So we need to add a using statement for, we're going to be using the BepInEx project. All right, we need to add a Bepin plugin attribute to our class. So every single plugin that uses, or mod that uses BepInEx needs to do the same thing. And this is in the BepInEx documentation. They describe a lot about how this works. All right, so we need to give it a kind of GUID. It's a unique identifier. So there's something called reverse domain notation. So we're going to do that. com.shinyshoe.mynameisfrank. So it's trying to come up with a unique name. My name is Frank is the name of our mod, and our version will be whatever, 1.0.0.0. All right, cool. And we need to derive from base Unity plugin, which says the base plugin type that is used by the BepInEx plugin loader. All right, cool. And that's it. Let's build. Okay, so it succeeded. All right, now let's look at where that went. So that made a DLL called mynameisfrank.dll. So that's in mods. My name is Frank, bin, debug, net standard 2.0. It's the exact same thing that's written right here. It might be kind of small. Oh, and I bet my font is really small. Hold on a second. I meant to increase the size of that. What is going on here? There we go. All right. Sorry about that. I hope that is, let's see if we can get it even bigger. Let's move this over here. Hopefully that's going to be enough space and better for everybody to see. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Okay, so jumping back over to here, and my head's a little bit in the way. If we go to debug standard, blah, 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 there's going to be somewhere in here, there's a mynameisfrank.dll right there that I have selected. So we have now technically made a mod, and we can already load this mod into Monster Train. So if we go back into our workshop folder, Steam Apps, Workshop, Content, 1102190, we can make a folder called, we'll call it Frank Test. So this mod is not distributed by Workshop. This is just us as a mod creator working locally. So you can just toss mods into here and they will be loaded by the game. This is how you kind of work locally on your mod before you upload it to Workshop. You need to make a folder called plugins. in plugins is where you copy my name is Frank. So I'm going to copy that in there. So that's my new DLL. Now we can just run the game, I think, and it should show up. So let's just run Monster Train here. And the game's not going to know anything about it. It doesn't really know its name or anything. But if we go to mod settings, there we go. We've got Frank Test. So it's just using its folder name. Because we didn't tell it if it's cosmetic or not, it just assumes that it's not. And so there we go. Frank Test was loaded though. So that means we have successfully created a mod that does nothing. Very exciting, but it's in there. Let's write the actual mod to change the name. And remember, our goal is we're going to change the name of Hornbreaker Prince to Frank. People are dissing me for not using dark mod. All right. Well, anyway, you can diss away. Let's finish making this mod. So, okay, we're going to quit back here, get out of Steam, come back here. All right, we've got all our windows open. Let's see what my little instructions say. So, okay, we've completed the setup. So we've got, like, all the basics of this. You could set up Visual Studio. I'm not going to show how, but you could set it up so that every time you build, it automatically copies it into this test folder over here to make your iteration easier as you're working on your mod. But for now, okay, let's look at this. Uploading your mod. All right, so, okay, well, we got to make our mod. Sorry, I skipped over that. Of course, we got to make our mod. All right, we can research what we're going to do. So there's tools like DNSpy. So this is kind of the low-level way. DNSpy is a tool. It means .NET Spy. It allows you to look at code inside of .NET assemblies where it'll kind of decompile it. And this is how you can kind of see things about Monster Train, or really any game made in Unity or in .NET. Monster Train is not obfuscated, so you can kind of look through here and you can see stuff. So I know one of the classes that we're going to need to modify, you wouldn't know this by default, but I know this, is called like card data. So it's got a bunch of functions, and we are going to use BepInEx to change what one of these functions does, and that's how we're going to change his name, Hornbreaker Prince's name, to Frank. Now, the good news is for folks is this is the low-level way. This is like if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty details, you can go through this. But the TrainWorks mod tools that have been made by the community did a lot of this work already to figure out how to get things like a card into the game. So again, I'm not going to show that today, but you don't necessarily need to dig this deep to do some of the kind of common tasks that we know people are going to want to do. You're going to want to use the TrainWorks mod tools. So I think we'll do another stream or another video on how to use those before modding support comes out. But we're not going to do that today. Today we're going to take the low-level approach just so folks can see how that works too. So I'm not going to really poke through there, but DNSpy is a way to look through the code to kind of understand how things work. Like I said, you can also use tools like TrainWorks. But yeah, now let's write some code and build our mod. So let's jump over to here. All right, we're going to do two things. When you derive, if you know anything about Unity programming, when you derive off of base Unity plugin in BepInEx, let's see what that is real quick. Here, it's actually a mono behavior. So it's interesting. I don't personally know a ton about all the details of how BepInEx works, but this is essentially a mono behavior that is loaded very early when your Unity-based application boots up. So we're going to make a wake function. You can override all the normal mono behavior lifecycle things. And we are going to use Harmony to change some of the, whoops, I must be missing a using. There we go. We're going to add Harmony lib. We're going to use Harmony to change some of the code in the game. Harmony is a part of the BepInEx project, but it's also a separate open source project that allows you to modify kind of .NET code on the fly. All right, so we're going to type in com.shinyshoe.mynameiSfrank again. All right. And then we're going to do something called harmony.patchAll. Okay, so all this is doing is this basically says whenever the BepInEx loads the mynameiSfrank mod, we are going to use Harmony to patch a bunch of code into the game. We haven't written that code yet, but that's what we're going to do. All right, so let's make another C# file. We're going to call this one, it's going to be a new class. We're going to call this name changer. All right. Okay, whoops. Now we're going to write this second class. We're going to call this We'll call this one name changer Frank. All right. And we're going to make it static. And this is like, you can read how to do this in the Harmony documentation. This is how I learned how to do this. So we're going to give it 2 attributes. So Harmony uses reflection to figure out what to patch. So we're going to patch a type. We're going to patch character data. It's the first one we're going to patch. So this is a class that I could have found in DNSpy. Here, we can jump over. I know the font's small, so sorry about that. But character data is another one of these classes in here. Let's just use the finder. All right, there it is. Okay, there's a bunch of functions, including one called getName, which we're going to change. So we're going to change how getName works. It normally just tries to use our localization system to find the name, but we're not going to do that. So, all right. We're going to do a Harmony patch, and then we're going to do another statement for Harmony patch, get name. All right. And thank you, Visual Studio, added the using statement. I needed for that automatically. Okay. So that's what this code, when it goes Harmony patch all, it's going to use reflection to try to find what you actually want to patch. So we're going to patch the type character data. We're going to change how the getName function works. So we're going to add a postfix function. Okay. Postfix means it's going to run after the original function runs. By looking at DNSpy, I know that the original function returns a string. So this is some details about how Harmony works. I can get a reference to the string that the normal game code would have returned, and we have the opportunity to modify it. So this is going to be pretty janky. So this is like any character in the game. When the game says, give me your name, just imagine we're adding this little bit of mod code that's going to run after the original code runs. So I'm going to say, if the original game said that your name should have been Hornbreaker Prince, we're going to change it instead to Frank. All right. There's probably a better way to do this, but this is definitely one of the ways to mod in a name change into the game. And Marimo asked for, let's just throw this in here, if result also equals, we probably shouldn't have called this name changer Frank, but who cares? All right, we're going to call this one, what was it? He wanted Legion of Wax. Then that is going to be called Marimo's Nightmare. Okay, so this is kind of, going to add some code. Most of the time when the normal game code says, what's your name? It's going to say train steward, and then it's going to run these if functions, and it's not going to modify the original result. However, if the name is Hornbreaker Prince or Legion of Wax, it will. Okay, so I happen to know, just to go through this quickly, that we're going to need to do this twice because the game, I just happen to know this. You wouldn't know this without reverse engineering. The Trainworks guys that made the Trainworks mod tools already did this, but basically we need another function that's similar for the card. So the card data and the character data is for in the train, and the card data is for when it's in your hand or you see it in any card view. So we need to override a function in card state called getTitle, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. So yes, this is super sloppy. I'm just cut and pasting code, whatever. We just don't care. This is like a throwaway mod. Let's build our mod. Okay, so it compiled it again. It put it in that same folder. We need to copy it into the Frank test folder. I still had this open. I'm just going to copy. I'm going to overwrite. Now I've got it copied into Steam, Steam Apps, Workshop, Content, 1102190. That's Monster Train, Frank test plugins. I updated my mod. Let's go run the game. And what we should see is Legion of Wax and Frank should have their appropriate names. So let's look here. Look at that. All right, Hornbreaker Prince is now named Frank. Let's try to look up Legion of Wax. Uh-oh. There is no Legion of Wax. But there is a Marimo's Nightmare. Shackles Yay says, so this mod would only work in the English client. Yes, because I am hard coding English strings. You could easily, jump over and fill in. I mean, this would be, not the ideal way to do this, but you could fill in all of these things with additional if statements for every single translation of it if you wanted. If you wanted to call him Frank in Chinese, you'd have to check for the Chinese normal name for him first. There's probably a way to patch localization into the game in a very different way. That's not what I decided to do for this simple stream. This is just a very simple example. We're changing some existing functions that exist in the game, kind of the low-level way. All right, Fluffitron UK says, Frank is a throwaway mod. You take that back, sir. All right, well, good news, because I can see, okay, this is like our code's a little janky here. We're okay with that because we're basically done with the mod. Looks like it works. The other thing we can test real quick is let's go into the game and make sure that... all right, let's start a new run. We can just look at all the places he shows up. He's also Frank here. Let's start a run. Let's see in the first battle if he's still Frank. All right, we'll just ignore our rewards because we're not actually going to play. All right, he's Frank in my hand. It's good. And when I summon him in and hover him, Frank. So this is why we had to override this function twice, because when he's in any kind of card view or deck view like this, it uses the card state get title, and just because of the way our game is coded, when he's a character, it uses character data get name. Why is one get title and one get name? I don't know, because the programmers wrote it that way. But yep, so mod's looking good. Mod's looking good. All right, quit the game. Okay. Yes, somebody asked, will we put this in the workshop? Yes, we're going to put it in the workshop live on stream right now. So let's think about how we want to do that next. Let's jump over to my instructions here. So we're done making our mod. Next thing we need to do is we need to upload our mod. So to upload a mod, you need the mod uploader. The mod uploader itself is distributed as a mod, which is handy. So the mod uploader is whatever, it's this thing, 21944999032. I know, it just rolls off the tongue, right? All right, so there's a executable, mtmoduploader.exe. This is what you need to use to, he's also called Frank and Stoker. Thank you, Crazy Jackal. This is what you need to use to upload mods. But before we can upload one, we need to create a manifest. We need to create something called modmanifest.json. So what I want to do is I'm going to go back to my name is Frank. You can do this in any way you want. This is how I like to do it. I'm going to make a folder called deployment. In the deployment folder, I'm going to make a mod manifest. So we'll just do that in Visual Studio. Let's see. Add new item. I don't know. I'm not going through this. Let's just call it modmanifest.json. All right, nice. It added a class to it. Beautiful. Thank you, Visual Studio. All right, where the hell did it put it? It put it here. Let's just move it. What I'm doing right now, I wouldn't recommend. This is not the way to do it. All right, there we go. So, okay, let's delete that. Here we are. So we need to make a JSON file with a couple of properties. Here. I've forgotten what all of them are off the top of my head, but these will all be in documentation. So, how to make it cosmetic? We'll talk about all these things. That's going to be in here. So we need to give it a title. There's a couple of properties that you must define. So our title is my name is Frank. We need to give it a description. Changes the name of Hornbreaker Prince to Frank, and also Legion of Wax to Marimo's Nightmare. So you want to remember offhand if you can put a single quote in a Jason, Marimo Nightmare. All right, forget it. I don't remember. So, okay, maybe you need to escape it. So you need to give it a title, a description, and you have to define if it is cosmetic only or not. So this is cosmetic only. True. It's a Boolean, true or false. So since this one is, we'll put true. There are some other properties you can add to this file. They'll all be in the documentation. You don't need to specify any of the other ones. All right. So we've got that. We've got modmanifest.json. We can actually copy this if we go back to our test mod even. So this is still before we've uploaded it. Remember, our test mod is here. My name is frank.dll in a plugins folder in the folder Frank test. If we copy modmanifest.json here, the game will read that now. So let's jump into the game. The difference we'll see here is instead of showing the folder name, it should show the real name of the mod because it loads the manifest. There it is. My name is Frank. And the cosmetic flag or the non-cosmetic flag isn't there because we said it is cosmetic only. So the flag is gone. Important point. So you must these three fields must be specified when you upload a mod in the manifest. And there's some other like ones in here like tags. You can put in a change log if you're like patching your mod over time. There's some stuff like that. But these are the only ones we need. All right. What's next? We need to make an image. We need to put an image in our deployment folder. That's how I'm going to set it up. Called mod image.png. All right, let's use paint. I'm going to go with a mouse-based paint drawing. So we need to make a 512 by 512 PNG. I think I've got paint set up for that already. Let's freehand mouse draw Hornbreaker prints. Let's get some reference up. Just make sure I can have something. All right, that's good enough. Here, I'll move him right there. Let's try to draw him. Okay, so he's got a strong jaw there. It's got a rounded head. Kind of goes around like that. Yeah, good enough. It's got an ear. Okay. It's got a nose. Looks a little grumpy. It's got some angry eyebrows. All right, but we need some green. We need some green for his eyes. He's got a little yellow kind of stripe going down the side of his head here. Let's try that. See if we can get that in there. All right. Stunning. Beautiful. All right. We need some fire, though, too, I think. Yeah, let's get some, like, lava, fiery type of stuff. Yeah, that looks cool. That's a good background. All right. And now, let's write Frank. Maybe it should be like... It's Frank. Okay. It's Frank. All right. Save. Good. Looks good. Deployment. It's already exactly where I want it to be. All right. So it needs to be called... What the hell did I call it? It needs to be called modimage.png. Okay. There it is. It's in our deployment folder. Okay. Looks good. All right, now we just need to, well, let's rebuild our mod one more time just to make sure everything's good here. All right. We need to copy our actual mod. So bin, we don't need to make a release build. We don't need optimized code for this. Who needs optimized code? All right, let's go into here. Let's go to deployment. We'll make a plugins folder. We'll copy in the DLL. So basically, we're trying to make a layout that is exactly how it needs to be uploaded to Steam. So we've got the manifest, we've got the PNG, we've got our DLL. This is the minimum set of things that you need to upload a mod to Workshop. And if you needed to have like other content, like you're writing sounds or new art and so on, you would put it in this folder too. Okay, I think we're ready to upload it. Let's upload it. It's a command line uploading tool. I'm sorry this isn't prettier, but this is what we had time to make. So I'm gonna change directory into there. All right, this is where we have our mod uploader. So there's a README in here that has a bunch of information about how to use this. So there's some documentation there. I'm gonna run the mod uploader. So if I run it with no parameters, it says usage, run the mod uploader and pass in the path to the folder of the mod you wanna upload. You use this same uploader for both uploading a new mod as well as uploading an existing mod if you're updating it with new changes or bug fixes or whatever. Your mod folder must have a mod manifest. Your folder must have a mod image.png. We've got all that stuff. So we're going to say mod uploader, and then I'm going to paste in the folder. Projects, Monster Train mods, my name is Frank, deployment. That's just where I put my stuff. I'm going to hit enter. Alrighty. Here it goes. Boom. Done. So it created a new mod. There's its ID that Steam makes these IDs. We don't. 2251852 blah, blah, blah. All right, let's quit the game. I'm going to delete my Frank test folder here because now our mod is actually on Workshop. All right, because I don't want to reveal all the mods that exist yet, because I want to show them over time, I'm going to move my Steam over to here. So just give me a second. Let me go find it. Sometimes Steam takes a minute to show it in Workshop as well, so we'll see. Yeah, I don't see it yet, so let's give it a minute here. I've seen this take upwards of like 2 minutes sometimes for Steam to actually cause it to show up. Still not there. But, you know, I can show you what it looks like. Here, I'll show a different one. This is Stoker that we were just looking at, the Monster Train deck editor. So once your mod shows up here, it's like any other mod in Steam Workshop. The name will be based on the name that you put in the manifest. The description down here will be based on the description you put into the manifest. There's like some other stuff in here, like you can add tags to it and so on. This was made by Crazy Jackal. It requires the Trainworks mod tools that we talked about. So yeah, that's what it looks like once it does get into there. So hold on one second. Let me pop it back over here again. Go back. Let's see if I can just refresh this again. Where's our mod? Come on, Steam. Killing me here. Oh, there it is. Okay. See, it takes a minute. Boom! All right. It's Frank. My name is Frank. It's Frank. There's our mod. So now, anyone in the world can subscribe to it. Well, not true. Not true. Actually, by default, Steam makes your mod visible only to yourself. It's in the hidden mode. So if you want to make this totally public, you have to click on something. But we, as the author, can test it first. So let's subscribe to our own mod. Steam is going to download it here. Done. Let's go back over here. Oh, actually, even before we do that, we can jump over to here. So the mod uploader told us that the ID was going to be blah, blah, blah. The last three numbers are 935. Now we downloaded it. Here's a folder. These are the exact same things we had in our deployment folder over here. So we've got the image and the manifest were downloaded, and our DLL was. So now when we run the game, we should have the real version of My Name is Frank that is on Workshop. There we go. We've got it. Let's check. We've got Frank. We've got the secret bonus Marimo's Nightmare here. So that is all good. Looking good. Yeah, let's make it live. All right, hold on. Still trying to be careful here to hide Workshop to show only what I want to show. All right, let's make it live. So change visibility, public, done. So now if the mod update was out, everyone around the world would be able to download this. When you get access to mods in either the public test that's coming soon or when the update comes out on the 22nd, you will be able to download this as well. All right, Fluffitron UK, this is the quality content I came for. Thank you. Thank you very much. Steve Shiny, I'm not crying, you're crying. I hope you like my mod, Steve. Thank you. And Cricket, if we need to decompile, is there anywhere that has an overview of where to find things? I don't know. I think probably the community on Discord is the best place to ask questions like that. There's definitely some resources, so let me show off some of these here that I wanted to call out. Obviously, you can't easily click these links, but there's a couple of things here. And some of these will give some amount of information on it, some more than others, but it's not like fully documented in the way that I think you would really ideally want, but perhaps that can be created by the community. All right. So, Shiny Shoe, we have some official example mods that are coming from the official dev team. It's on GitHub. It's there right now. So if you're a mod author, you can go look. I will upload the My Name is Frank mod in a few minutes after the stream, or in a few hours, maybe. It depends on what else I have going on. But I'll get that uploaded too. You can see that right now, including a bunch of the other example mods that we have going out with the update. All right, the Trainworks mod tools. I've referred to these a number of times. This is, again, we're going to show some other streamer videos soon, excuse me, that shows using these tools to create a mod. This is going to make it a lot easier to do something like putting a new card into the game. So here it is on GitHub, Kitten Aqua, Monster Train Modding API. Crazy Jackal has made some Visual Studio modding templates. So that whole process I went through where I set up the Visual Studio project, he's made it easier if you use one of these templates. Go to that GitHub URL and you can see how it works and do that if you like, so you don't have to do it manually like I did. And then finally, we use the Dependencies project like I talked about before. Dependencies is public, open source. It's used in a bunch of different games as kind of a modding framework, so to speak. It's like kind of the lowest level part. You can download that now, and you could start making mods with it even without the official mod support. Really what the official mod support about is trying to bundle it up. It's adding that UI to the game and trying to make it easy for people to kind of get mods. And of course, we're distributing through Workshop. But there's nothing stopping you from using Dependencies right now to start making a mod if you're interested in all this stuff. All right. Any other questions about any of that? I hope that was informative and made sense. I'll give it a minute or so to see if there's anything else. I'm happy to answer any kind of final questions about how to make a mod. And yeah, like I said, there'll be some more documentation coming, those resources. We can post the links in Discord, discord.gg/monstertrain. And yeah, there's a kind of modding channel in there for that. And those kind of GitHub resources I showed as well have a bunch of additional information. All right. Okay, cool. Well, doesn't look like there's anything else for today. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope it all made sense. If not, I can post these notes and, post the resources and links, etc. elsewhere. Definitely really looking forward to seeing some mods from the community. So thank you. And yeah, just as a reminder, last time, Herzl's Workshop, official mod support coming out October 22nd, along with some Halloween treats and fun. All right, until next time, bye.